Hello, one and all, is my review of The Promised Neverland Season 2, Episode 4, and I have to say, after this episode, a lot of the manga readers are very, very angry, though quite frankly, they've been pretty angry since the last episode. Basically, the problem is that when they first got to the bunker, it shouldn't have been empty. There should have been someone there waiting for them, the person who scratched help again and again on the walls, a person who was beloved by the manga readers, and he just was not there. Though, weirdly enough, there was a reference to him when they first got to the room with all the monitors in it. There was moldy cookies and an old cup of tea there. In the manga, he was drinking that tea and eating those cookies when they first showed up. So, weird. I mean, personally, I wasn't all that upset after last episode. I figured, okay, you know what? This person, he's either out hunting or he's in another part of the bunker. He's somewhere. He's just going to end up showing up next episode. They didn't want to ruin the flow of them discovering the bunker with them having to deal with this guy. So that's what's going to happen. But no, that did not happen. He did not appear anywhere in this episode, and I'm gonna guess that at this point he's just been completely and utterly written out of the show. And instead, we got a good 5-6 minutes of anime-only content of them catching fish and deciding whether or not to eat them. Yeah, just why? There was so much more stuff they could have done with that time, with that space, and yet instead they decided to fill it up with fish catching. That just feels so utterly weird to me. And just while I'm on that topic, let's not forget, 2 episodes ago, Emma had that whole tragic moment where she had to kill for the first time. She had to, kill to provide for her family. And it seemed to be implied, okay, this is going to be Emma's role moving forward. She's going to be the killer so that she can provide for them, so that she can take the burden upon her shoulders so they don't have to. And yet they killed a lot of those fish-like creatures this episode, and they even went out hunting for birds. So that entire scene seems, it was beautiful. I loved it, but it just feels utterly pointless in terms of anything else. Her siblings are out hunting and killing now. The very thing, she didn't want them to do. The very thing she wanted to put upon her own shoulders. This could have absolutely worked if there had been a moment where, Emma and Ray talked about this, where Ray warned her, she was doing the exact same thing that he did, putting all the weight on her own shoulders to try and keep the rest of them safe, try to keep the rest of them happy. But no, we got none of that. And so now Emma's whole hunting scene just feels absolutely and utterly pointless. And then the mercenaries showed up, which is just Jesus Christ. Now, don't get me wrong, the mercenaries do appear in the manga, but not for another, 2 years, an entire arc down the road. Now, this has led to a lot of manga readers being very, very worried that they're just going to end up skipping that arc, an arc which, in my opinion, is the first or second best arc in the entire history of the series. I'm hoping that's not going to happen, but I'm not really sure. Though something I am sure about is that these mercenaries are complete and utter morons. I will excuse some of their stupidity, some of them being, outsmarted and outgunned by the kids, simply because their orders were to bring back the kids without a single scratch on them that would, lower their value as food. So they can't actually use these big guns they're waving around for anything other than, intimidation, really. But what I really can't excuse is their utter failure and incompetence in taking out this demon. Seriously, they just, completely lost their minds, started shooting at it randomly, and then Ray came in and killed it in one shot. And there is a reason for that. Basically, Ray hit the demon in his weak spot. The demon's center eye, in the middle of their face, that's their core, that's their weak point. That was actually said in the last episode, kinda. Sonju told them, if you ever come across a demon, run away. If you can't, aim for the middle of its face. But that just really felt like basic common sense, Oh, aim for the eyes so that you can blind it and you can get away more easily. But no, that is the one and only weak spot on a demon. That is the only real way to kill them, is by shooting at the center eye and destroying it. That's the reason why most of the intelligent demons wear masks, to avoid any damage coming to their center eye. And these soldiers, they should have absolutely 100% have known that weakness. I don't see a plane, so I'm assuming they had to trek here through the woods. That means they must have, some knowledge of what to do if they come across a wild demon. But they seem to have forgotten all that training and completely forgot that, okay, if I just shoot the demon right there, it'll die and we can go back to kidnapping these kids. So yeah, that stupidity just really, really bothered me. But what bothered me even more than that is that this scene in the manga is one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. We got very little dialogue with the mercenaries, but basically in the manga, the mercenaries went on these long, long rants about how the kids, didn't deserve life, didn't deserve happiness, didn't deserve a chance to be free because they were just food. They were basically an inferior species to him, and he just, kept saying, you're food, you're an it, you're not a real person, only for the head mercenary to then be eaten by a demon to become food, to essentially become the inferior species that he hated so much. And that just felt like such an amazing sense of irony here. But here it felt like an unnecessary deus ex machina, Oh, a demon just happened to come out and save the kids. Good for them. Yay. where in the manga it just felt so utterly perfect, and that really bothers me. And then, hey, Isabella's back! Yay! And that was definitely a big surprise for the manga readers, because in the manga, she didn't appear until like the last 20 chapters of the series. Literally 100 chapters after this point. So, interesting. I'm very, very curious to see what it is they're going to do with her. It seems like she's going to be more proactive in the search for the kids, more proactive in trying to take them down, trying to kill them, trying to, recapture them, have them sold to be food. And this might seem like a big divergence for a character, but it does make a certain amount of sense. I mean, right now, the entire demon world's after these kids. Literally, everyone is trying to hunt these kids down and bring them back to the farm. So they're going to die one way or the other. And it seems to her, it's better for her to bring back in so that they can experience a mostly painless death instead of being torn to pieces by wild demons in the woods. That does make some sense, though I am very curious about the offer that was given to her. They basically said, if you do this, we will free you from the farm. We'll take off your tattoo, we'll take out the bomb in your heart, and you'll be, free to go. And I 100% believe they are lying. I mean, they might be true to their word to a certain extent. They might, take off tattoo, might take the bomb out of her neck, just push her out into the wild, and then 10 seconds later be like, hey look, a wild human, let's go eat her, and then, they go off and murder her, because let's not forget, she is high quality food as well. She was a perfect scorer, and what's more, she raised kids of higher quality than any of the other farms, so there's a fairly decent chance they are still planning on eating her one way or the other, though there is still the question of what was whispered to her. What did the demon say to her that shook her more than anything else? My own guess, at least right now, is the demon said, and if you do this, we'll also let you keep Ray, your own biological son. You'll be allowed to escape with him, go to the human side of the world maybe, something like that. I mean, it certainly seems unlikely that they would allow Ray to go free, given that he's also perfect quality meat, but, they are really desperate to get the kids back, and Isabella is really desperate to protect at least one of her children, so she might actually believe it, and they might actually mean it. Definitely be interesting to see what happens with that, but please, let me know anything else down below. Readers of the manga, do you think they're going to completely skip the next arc and just move on to basically endgame material here, try to end the entire series with season 2, or do you think they have something else in mind? I am somewhat hopeful they will include the next arc, but probably just without the person in the bunker. Though it's going to be very interesting to see how they do that, or, how they even write the story if they just completely skip that arc entirely. A lot of manga readers are definitely upset about this, but I'm going to hold off my judgment until, we see where they go with this, exactly what kind of story they're telling, and what changes they're going to end up making to it. But let me know all that down below. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and until then,
peace!